Imagine walking into a forest where certain trees cannot be cut, certain animals cannot be harmed, and certain places cannot be entered casually. Why would an ancient community place spiritual boundaries around parts of nature? Today we explore the sacred forest in Igbo Omenala and compare it with sacred landscapes and protected ritual spaces in Ancient Kemet. Today we often think of a forest as a collection of trees, timber, land, natural resources, something that can be measured by its economic value. But imagine a society where a particular forest has another kind of value. A place where people do not simply see trees. They see memory, ancestry, ritual, mystery, and responsibility. Across parts of Africa, sacred groves and protected natural spaces have existed for generations. Among Igbo communities, particular forests, groves, rivers, trees, and other natural locations could become associated with spiritual beings, community traditions, ritual activities, or taboos. The exact practices varied significantly from community to community. That diversity is important. There was never one single Igbo sacred forest system. But the broader principle is fascinating. Certain places were treated differently from ordinary land. Why? Because boundaries create protection. If a community declares, "This forest must not be destroyed," it has created a cultural mechanism for conservation. The reason may be religious. It may be ancestral. It may be ecological, or it may combine all three. Imagine a forest that cannot simply be cleared for farming. Over generations, that restriction can preserve trees, animals, medicinal plants, water sources, and biodiversity. The spiritual rule becomes an environmental safeguard. This is one reason sacred natural spaces are so important to the study of traditional African ecological knowledge. The ancestors may not have used the modern term biodiversity, but they understood that certain places needed protection. Now let us travel to Ancient Kemet. Egypt was dominated by the Nile Valley, surrounded by deserts and other distinct landscapes. Sacred geography was fundamental to Egyptian religion. Temples, cemeteries, sacred lakes, mountains, islands, and other locations were integrated into religious life. Egyptians also associated particular places with particular deities and myths. The landscape itself became part of sacred history. Temples were not simply buildings. They could represent a structured model of the cosmos. Sacred spaces were separated from ordinary spaces through boundaries, rituals, rules, and purification. Here again, Igbo sacred landscapes and Egyptian sacred spaces should not be treated as identical. Their religious systems were different. Their histories were different. Their environmental conditions were different. But comparison reveals a powerful shared human idea. Place can have meaning. A forest is not always just a forest. A river is not always just a river. A mountain is not always just a mountain. Human beings create relationships with places. We remember events there. We bury ancestors there. We perform ceremonies there. We tell stories about them. Eventually, geography becomes memory, and memory becomes identity. This is particularly important in a world where landscapes are rapidly changing. When forests disappear, we lose more than trees. We may lose medicinal knowledge, animal habitats, water systems, traditional gathering places, stories, names, and cultural memory. This is why traditional sacred spaces deserve serious attention. Not because every ancient belief should automatically be accepted as scientific fact, but because these traditions can preserve valuable knowledge about how communities related to their environment. The sacred forest therefore teaches us something profound. Sometimes protection begins with respect. If a community believes a place is worthy of reverence, people may be less willing to destroy it. And perhaps modern society can learn from that principle. We may not need to adopt every ancient ritual, but we can recover the underlying question. What places are valuable enough that we should protect them even when exploiting them would be profitable? That question is as important today as it was centuries ago. Because once a forest is gone, a building can replace the land, but it cannot easily replace the ecosystem, the memories, the traditions, or the generations of knowledge that disappeared with it. The sacred forest therefore becomes more than a spiritual concept. It becomes a lesson in stewardship, a reminder that some things should not be valued only by what they can produce. Some things are valuable simply because they sustain life. What if the greatest form of environmental protection begins with learning to respect nature again? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Like this video, share it with someone who cares about African heritage and the environment, and follow for the next episode as we explore Chukwu, Chi, divine unity, and the many ways African traditions understood the source of creation.